Hey y'all, I'm back with another Legacy video, and today I'm going to play something new that I'm pretty excited about. This is a deck list I've seen getting some trophies by the Legacy player Otaba, and it's basically what I'm calling AlurenTell. It is 4 copies of Aluren, which is going to allow you to cast 3 mana value or less creatures for free and at instant speed, combined with 4 copies of Show and Tell, which will allow you to put in Atraxa or Omniscience. And it's sort of weird to see all of these cards together, but the thing that ties the entire deck together is new Lorwyn printing Formidable Speaker. And the reason why this card is good with both of them is that it ETBs and allows you to get any creature. So that means if you have Show and Tell and you put in Omniscience, so then you cast Formidable Speaker, you get Atraxa. Or if you have Aluren, you cast Formidable Speaker, and you get Acererak, and you can win the game on the spot. I guess you could get Acererak also off Omniscience, but probably getting Atraxa would just be faster. It's also really nice with Dimir being such a good deck to be on so many copies of Veils of Summer. There's 4 between the main deck and side. And apart from that, the deck is pretty simple. Either you're going to combo off quickly or have some good interaction for your opponents. It's pretty all in. It's not like other maybe like straight Aluren decks that might have like Uro as a plan B and Omniscience having several different win cons. So it's pretty straightforward. It's going to try to do its thing. There's 4 copies of stock up to help find all the cards. And it's really cool. If you know me, one of the decks that I really used to be into was Aluren back in the day, back when that really felt like a viable strategy, and I probably played it even well after that. So Aluren is near and dear to my heart, and it's really cool to see it revitalized in this new list. I think this could actually be pretty good. I'm excited to get into it. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to say about the deck. Let's get into the league and hope it goes well. All right, I'm on the draw in the first match, and I'll definitely keep this. It needs to find a second green source to play Aluren. It needs to just find some action. Now, when I saw that Tundra, I was a little worried about a Tamiyo, and that's definitely one flaw with this deck is there's no removal for creatures. So creatures, you just have to hope to race the creatures. Okay, there's Show and Tell, so that means I can actually put Aluren into play next turn. Yeah, those are definitely keeps. I'll draw the Ponder and then draw a stock up next turn. So next turn is looking like Ancient Tomb and then cast stock up. And my opponent has no play. This could be like a Felia deck. Let's see what they have to say about stock up. Force a negation, pitch Lorien revealed. That's fine with me, especially given that I am on 6 cards in hand. So it's not like I was short on action. And I would have had to go to discard in all likelihood. Okay, this could be like a Beanstalk deck. Uro, okay. Could be the mirror, the Aluren mirror. All right, I think this is a good turn for Brainstorm. If I find Formidable Speaker or Atraxa, I could go off this turn with Show and Tell. Okay, there's another stock up, another green source, so I'll put back Basic Island and I guess Ponder. And then it'll fetch, Trop, and stock up. And really I'm just looking for Formidable Speaker and Force of Will would be ideal. Atraxa is also okay. And then the lands are kind of unfortunate. I'll just grab a Misty Rainforest. So now I really would like to see like Veil of Summer or Force of Will. Okay, Brainstorm. So no Uro this turn. They were a little short on cards in graveyard, but it was maybe feasible if they had countered something last turn. But next turn Uro is going to come back. Okay, so they fetched and got a tap land in their own main phase. Brainstorming like kind of desperately here. Maybe they're trying to play around Bowmaster, though I would think with the lands that I've shown, I personally wouldn't be too afraid of Bowmaster. Okay, I'm going to cast another Brainstorm. Would like to see Force of Will. Okay. So I'll put back, let's see. I'm a little short of being able to do Show and Tell and Aluren this turn. So I think I'll put back some lands. But because of the pedal, I do feel comfortable going Ponder. So I'll cast Ponder, cast Ponder, and really would like to see some sort of protection. There's Force of Will, awesome. I'll play out Pedal and cast Show and Tell. And then I put in Aluren. They put in Leyline Binding. That's pretty good, but I think I can win in response to this. So here's Acerak. And now it's going to become Click City here if they don't scoop. This is going to take a lot of clicks to win and is definitely a reason to not play this deck online if you're not into that. So this is suffering for the art here a little bit. Plow, I'll go Force of Will, pitching Ponder. So then you go into the Lost Mine of Phandelver. Scry that to the bottom. And then the next one doesn't really matter. I'll go Goblin Lair. Okay, they scoop it up. Yeah, they see how I can win the game. So it's literally, you go through this Lost Mine, and Dark Pool is the only thing that gets the game over immediately. But I could also, like, do the mine tunnels to get treasure tokens, and then I could literally cast this Atraxa if for some reason Acerak didn't work out, or make a lethal goblin attack. So there's definitely some value, even if somehow it doesn't win. But I think if you can cast it a few times, you should be able to win. And so it's really just things to consider if your opponent wants to try to time you out. But thankfully, my opponent here very graciously conceded. I really appreciate it. All right, so I think I want protection against counter spells. Carpet, probably good as well. It's probably all I want is those 5 cards. And as far as cuts, probably some number of Force of Will. Maybe like a pedal or 2 if I'm bringing in Carpet. And I'll probably want to slow down just a little bit anyway. And then maybe 1 more Force. Try that. This is a risky hand to keep, but I am on the draw, so I will keep this. The only issue here with 1 land in Brainstorm is the mana could end up being quite rough. But my opponent definitely is a slower deck, and so hopefully I can draw out of it. And if I can get to that stock up, that's going to feel really good. Okay, there's a green source right away. And I don't think I'm going to need Boseiju. I don't know, I might want Boseiju. That being said, I am going to play it and just cast Carpet of Flowers. And they might want to force the Carpet, like Boseiju into Carpet reeks of no access to blue mana. So let's see what happens. Brainstorm in response, okay. And they've already given me the land here. I don't know if they're going to daze it. I really doubt my opponent is on daze. They probably do play Prismatic Ending, though. So definitely no guarantee. And I'm not going to cast my Brainstorm here. I'm just going to say go. All right, my opponent is fetching, so this could be ramping me. They could be tapping out for Beanstalk. That would be pretty good. Or just ending the Carpet. Yeah, that's fine. I'm a little surprised they still have Prismatic Ending in their deck, actually. Okay, and I drew Ponder. That's really nice because I can cast that right now, looking for more lands and maybe Show and Tell. Those cards are fine, especially if I can get stock up next turn to resolve, because I definitely don't want a 3rd copy of Atraxa. So getting to stock up that to the bottom would be nice. But I do have Brainstorm, so I'll get to fix my hand up either way. Okay, my opponent might have another Uro here, and they already do have a lot of cards in graveyard. So this Uro might hit the table pretty soon. Yeah, so Uro will enter next turn. It's a little scary. So the clock is ticking to make something happen. I'll attempt to stock up. Fetching in response. This could be another emergency brainstorm. Maybe they do actually play Spell Pierce. Okay. They get a red source, so probably Pyroblast. All right. Yep, it's pretty good. Good to know about Pyroblast and about red in their deck. So they will get Uro, unfortunately. That's good. All right, I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to lead on Brainstorm. Okay, and then I'll just put back an Atraxa and a land. And then I'll try to stock up. And I'm going to get a snow-covered island here, because that could in the future make them think about Ice Fang Coatl. All right, Force of Negation. So I'm kind of rolled up. If I get Carpet, I could probably cast Omniscience at some point. If I get Show and Tell off the top, then that'll be looking really good. I think I'm probably going to lose this one, though. They have their engine online, and I am kind of stuck. So maybe they're going to cantrip if they're getting a Hedge Maze, like maybe Ponder is about to be cast. But they do draw a card with Uro right away anyway, so. Disruptor Flute, that's pretty good. See what they name. Show and Tell. That is a good card to name. Well, there's Carpet. So that actually, depending on what they have, that leaves me 1 mana shy of Omniscience next turn. If I get a land, or if they play if they play anything. Also, if I get a Lotus Petal, I could cast Atraxa as well, if that's what I prefer. All right, they actually played out a land. So Omniscience might hit the stack next turn. I think if they just played out a land, though, they're probably not going to let me keep this Carpet. Beanstalk, sure. So they have to have nothing here. And I think that's very, very unlikely. Okay, Aluren. So Aluren's not very good. It has to be Omniscience. So I'll just add blue. But still pretty cool, gonna cast Omniscience. And then I can, like, let's say their interaction is the Leyline Binding. I'll cast another Omniscience right away. Pyroblast. Oh, a 1 mana spell to counter my 10 mana spell. Brutal. I guess I'm not dead next turn as things stand. So I will pass and let them take another turn. So I go to 1, they play another Beanstalk. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't find them the thing they need. Okay, a fetch land is pretty bad. But I'm going to put Omniscience on the stack again. And let's see what happens. All right, they had the Force. Yeah, figured that wouldn't really work out, so I'll scoop it up. Okay, that game was kind of a nothing game, it felt like. I think I want to just run it back as it is. Force of Vigor could be good against them, but I think I'm fine without it. I think I like every card in my deck a bit better than that. I could play Cage, but I bet they have other win conditions other than Uro. So, yeah, I'll keep this. This is turn 2 stock up, possibly turn 3 Aluren. I think I can afford to get a Trop. I haven't seen any sort of Wasteland from the opponent. And I'll cast Ponder. Those seem really nice. Yeah. Next turn I'll probably Defense Grid. And then I probably won't need the redundant Aluren. All right, my opponent has a Tamiyo. That's pretty good. So I don't want to draw that extra copy of Aluren, so I will fetch another Trop and attempt Defense Grid. So they could spend a turn, like, I think the best case scenario for them is that they spend a turn. Okay, they have to force that, yeah. The best case scenario would have been if they took a turn to Prismatic ending it. But I think I'm going to put too many must counters on the stack this game, and hopefully that just goes way bigger than this Tamiyo goes. But we'll have to see. Okay, Beanstalk. It's pretty good. All right, so I think I want to brainstorm first and then clear some of the cards with stock up. Okay, so the combo is here. I could just go show and tell, put in Aluren, or if that doesn't work out next turn, Aluren. I could also just start with stock up, give them a turn. Maybe I'll do that. Sadly, if they have Force of Will, now they draw a card, but it's still a card down for them. Yeah, that's fine. So now next turn I have show and tell. And then if that still doesn't work, I have Aluren. I really would like to see them tap out. Okay, they didn't tap out. I'll play City of Traders so I can save some life, and I'll cast show and tell. And I'll put in Aluren, see what they put in. Okay, they put in Leyline Binding, so I guess it's go time here. I'll discard my Ancient Tomb. And I'll get Acerak, and hopefully this holds here. They draw a card in response. Lost Mine. Scry 1. Sure, if I end up drawing that, I will definitely take a stock up. All right, I got there. Yeah, that felt like a lot of things that they had to counter back to back in game 3. And thankfully, my opponent, I'm very thankful, didn't have me click through all that. So that was pretty cool. Aluren wins match number 1. All right, match 2, I'm on the play. And I think this is probably a mulligan, but I'm going to keep. And I'll play Misty Rainforest, or maybe I'll play Polluted Delta first, as that, like, if I'm up against like a turn 1 Thoughtseize, that looks a little bit less like a Veil of Summer. And then on end step, I can crack the Surveil, if nothing else. And really just want to find show and tell. Ooh, it's Painter. That's pretty cool. Sadly, I don't have Emrakul in my deck, but they might play like I do. But now my hand doesn't really look that good. Okay, stock up is really nice. It's also a blue card for Force of Will. And this Surveil, I really just want to see show and tell. Another Atraxa is going to get binned. But maybe that'll be the sign that they shouldn't go for the combo. Because obviously if you have Emrakul in the deck, it just shuffles. And so you can't just win with Painter Grindstone. So I'm hoping that they sort of expect that. Now, Veil of Summer does look pretty bad. I will cast Brainstorm. I think it's very likely to get Pyroblasted, but if that means that stock up doesn't get Pyroblasted, then I'm all for it. Yeah. That's fine. And then next turn I will stock up, and maybe I'll cast Veil to make sure that stock up resolves. I can also, like, if I happen to find show and tell, I can just Veil preemptively. Okay, they have Painter. Probably naming blue. White. Okay. Okay, there's Aluren. I will fetch now. I'll fetch basic island and cast stock up. I think I will Veil to protect it. If I get Formidable Speaker, I should win the game. Okay, not the best there. I guess I'll take Force and stock up, and I can do this again next turn. Okay, Opal was fine. Another Saga, also fine. Goblin Engineer. I think I need to force that. Pitch, probably just the Force, and then if they have an answer, I'll Veil in response. Yeah, so I just have to Veil. And sadly, because they named white smartly, I'm not going to draw a card or anything here. But I have to keep Engineer off the table. And then they swing in with Painter. Really hope to see Formidable Speaker off the top. Omniscience. Okay. So I am technically dead here if they go for it. I will take Show and Tell, Veil of Summer. And so now, yeah, if my opponent understands that they need a third card because I have Emrakul, then maybe they won't go for it. As it turns out, I don't have Emrakul though. So if they go for it, I am screwed. All right, they are floating mana, so I don't like that. And playing Engineer, okay. Yeah. So if they get Soul Guide Lantern, if they have that, which I assume they do, then they can kill me. Okay. All right, I'll scoop. Definitely don't want to show them my deck. So Force of Vigor looks really good. Possibly Consign. Maybe Fairy Macabre as a one of. Cards I don't want are things like, honestly, I don't think Veil of Summer is that good. Though Seiju could be really good. Maybe I'm just not too worried about the consigns. I'll just run it back with those changes. All right, game 2, back on the play. Yeah, I'll keep this. Want to find Formidable Speaker or Acerak. I might want to get basic Forest with this. So I will start with the Island and play Ponder. Yeah, those cards are fine. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but in a pinch, it'll do. Ooh, Plateau, that's cool. And because my opponent is holding up mana, I think I will just take this as an opportunity to maybe Surveil on end step. I know I talked about getting the basic. We'll see. I definitely don't want to have to counter some sort of Magus or something like that. Goblin Engineer. I'll Surveil in response. Another land is decent. I'm gonna let them have Goblin Engineer. Okay, Dragon Engine, sure. They might have even taken out of their combo. When I play against Show and Tell, when I'm playing Painter, I usually trim pretty significantly on the combo because it's pretty bad as a 3-card combo. All right. I'll put back the Hedge Maze and the Petal, I think. And then I'll Hedge Maze again off of the Delta. Okay, they have a lot of cards in hand. So I'm not too worried about the Dragon Engine just yet. That would be a pretty crazy play to ditch 6 cards. So I'm definitely liking the Aluren line if I can get Formidable Speaker because that plays around Pyroblast. I'm gonna bin Show and Tell. Painfully. Okay, there's Formidable Speaker, so I bet I can just win the game here. And it's gonna be pretty free to Brainstorm. I'm sure it gets blasted, but yep, that's fine. Here's Aluren. Cast Formidable Speaker. And here I'm just not sure what they have that would interact with this. I mean, they could have Plow, maybe? Okay, they have Crater Maker. So this is like a Shortcake list. This creature deals 2 damage to target creature, destroy target colorless. That's fine. I'll discard Force of Vigor and get Acerak. Cast Acerak. Okay, they're going to ditch the 4 cards in their hand for 3 new cards. Better be 3 good cards here. All right, sweet. Yeah, the Aluren side of this deck has won every game so far. All right, now the jig is up that that's part of my deck. I still don't think there's really any changes to be made. They probably will still play around Emrakul if I had to guess, but yeah, try it again. All right, this looks pretty good as well. I will keep. I need mana. Good few things I need, to be honest, but it's definitely a start. Okay, there's the mana. So now I'll get Basic Island. And then if this Ponder finds Aluren, I should be able to just win next turn. Omniscience as well. Stock Up is good. Force of Will is good. Yeah, not excited about it, but I think it's a keep. I don't mind this Saga getting constructs and popping pretty quickly, because whatever they're doing, I can just race it. Okay, so they're not even making constructs. Probably Pyroblasting here, my stock up if I had to guess. I'll probably just let that happen, since I still have Brainstorm next turn. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not sure about this Turbo Saga that they played out. Okay, there's Grindstone. It's another Saga. Blood Moon. I can still cast Show and Tell. I think I have to force this, though. Pitch the Force, and I draw another Force of Will next turn anyway. All right, if this Brainstorm shows me a land and... Okay. There is a land. I guess I'll put back the city and the stock up. And against my somewhat better judgment, I will play out Boseiju. Okay, they're cracking. Plateau. Maybe they're doing that to try to play around Boseiju. I mean, it didn't really because I could have acted right then. All right, I'll cast stock up. Ponder and Misty Rainforest. And then fetch. And then I do want to get a dual land here. And cast Ponder. And then I just want to see... I could Show and Tell in Atraxa. That's probably good enough. Backed by Force of Will. And I can attempt that on consecutive turns. I think that's fine. And that could even find me the cards I need. So if they make another construct, they're in trouble. If they tap out a Pyroblast right now. Okay. Well, I'm prepared for the construct beatdown plan. LED. Okay. It's kind of threatening. But yeah, I have to protect this Atraxa. Because I need the life gain. So I need this to resolve, and I need Atraxa to possibly find another Force of Will. If they can put in Painter, they'll actually just win if they go for it. So I'll force this, pitch Brainstorm, put in Atraxa. Okay, they put in Perilous Snare. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. That's pretty good. So I'm going to have to come up with a miracle here. But I think I got it. So I already have the Show and Tell, so my enchantment will be Aluren. Creature. Formidable Speaker. Instant Force of Vigor. Land. City of Traders. And then I already have Show and Tell, so I can get Ponder. Play the city. I could even just cast Aluren. So if they do happen to have like, yeah, I just cast Aluren. Cast Formidable Speaker. They Painter in response. That's pretty good. But I have another Formidable Speaker. Give another Painter. Actually, I messed up. This was a punt. Because I had Force of Vigor. So, like, if they actually went for it, I just Force of Vigor in response. And then they discard their hand. Okay, so now their out is grinding out the Acerak, which they did not do. I'll discard Show and Tell. And I'll pick up Acerak. And with their Painter Servant on the stack, I'll just do this thing. And I'll go to the Lost Mine. Scry 1. And I don't know if they're going to make me click through all this stuff, but I am just going to stop talking so that it skips to the end of this. All right, my opponent didn't make me go through all of it. GG's, really appreciate it. Yeah, I think if they had another Painter right there, I died to it because they could have cracked the LED, and I had the answer already, so I should have just let the Painter resolve. But yeah, that was good enough. All right, on to the next one. All right, I'm on the draw. My opponent, Eureka, plays a lot of Doomsday. This is probably a fine hand. I'll keep. This one is going to be a tough one. Okay, turn 1 Tamiyo is good. All right, I have Omniscience. I'll just play Delta and pass. That's going to continue to make it look as well like I'm on Dimir. And I just have to hope that they don't have... all right, they're going to Thoughtseize. That's fine. Going to see that I'm up to no good. Take a Brainstorm, sure. All right, so I'll play the fetch land. I'll crack this. I don't know whether or not I need to be worried about Wasteland, but I will cast this Brainstorm. All right, I'm just going to put back the 1 Surveil land and another land, and I will actually cast this Ponder off a Trop. I would like to see Force of Will, Show and Tell. Yeah, I mean, Show and Tell is pretty good. And I'll just draw it. I really don't want to draw that land. I'll probably hedge maze it away, but I'm still a few turns away, so this is really slow. Thoughtseize me again, sure. So now the jig is totally up. But I do have another Show and Tell coming, so. And maybe next turn, depending on how things go here. Bowmaster, sure. I think I'm just going to cast the Show and Tell next turn. 2 cards in hand. Put in Omniscience. All right, and they didn't put in anything. Might be a little risky to put in the Aluren just yet. So I'll hold the Aluren. I know next turn I'm drawing a blank. So it's going to be kind of slow going here. I still think I'm kind of unfavored, but having Omniscience in play is obviously just a great start. Okay, so they'll flip Tamiyo. So now next turn they'll have Thoughtseize back if they want. So I probably have to play out Aluren this turn. All right, I'll cast Aluren first, and then I'll hedge maze. And a Cantrip would be cool. Formidable Speaker would be cool. Atraxa would be awesome. All right, there's Formidable Speaker. So, depending on what they have, if they have nothing, I can win next turn. There's nothing in their graveyard I care about. But what are the chances of them having nothing? I think it's pretty low. Okay, this might just be Dimir tempo because I'm getting Kaito'd. So that's good to know. Probably not Doomsday. And they play Brainstorm, so basically if they have Force of Will, I'm dead. If they don't have Force of Will, they're dead. Ponder. Really hope to see a shuffle here. Okay, they shuffle. All right, here we go. Discard Snow-Covered Forest. It's kind of the same at this point between Acererak and Atraxa, so I'm just going to go for Acererak. All right, sweet. Kind of escaped with that one, but surveilling into the Formidable Speaker was pretty nice. All right, so against Dimir Tempo, that's what these green cards are for. Really was helpful to see the Kaito, as now I assume that I'm not facing against Doomsday. It might just be those 4 cards for the 4 Force of Wills. And then Petal will be nice because that'll help me play around Daze or hold up Veil or something like that. Yeah, give it a try. All right, that's definitely a keep. This is pretty vulnerable to Thoughtseize, but it's kind of okay. It's also pretty... yeah, this is a surprisingly fragile hand, but just, you can't mull it. Yep, Tamiyo is fine. That is the one weakness of this deck, is it's going to let your opponent... your opponent will get to Tamiyo. All right, I like the other colored source. That's going to help me get to Aluren, but this really is much more about the show and tell resolution. All right, Wasteland means I will not be surveilling. And they get their clue token and say go. Sweet. All right. Well, I like the idea of jamming a carpet here. So I'll go Snow-Covered Forest and carpet. And sadly, I can't spend that mana right now, but it does make things awkward for my opponent, who will have to make some tough decisions. Okay, and I like the Bowmaster over drawing a card. I guess that does kind of make it seem like they have whatever it is, like a Force of Will. Okay, would love to see them crack the clue and then like play a land. Okay, Wasteland and Brainstorm. So the Tamiyo has flipped. I've seen a lot of cards. I think I will surveil. I think this is my best window that I'm going to have in this whole game, is next turn. So it's worth it to take this risk. Another show and tell. That's going to be okay. Yeah. So yes, I'll add blue. I could add any color here though. And I'll play show and tell around Daze. Force a negation, pitch Brainstorm, that's fine. I do have the follow-up next turn. They could pick up the Force a negation. Okay. Another Bowmaster, that's also okay. And picking up Force a negation. So I could make that same play again of surveilling. So if I surveil and next turn they wasteland me, they can't crack the clue. I will surveil again, because again, this feels like my best window to get it done. Would love to see Veil. Ponder is a fine card to top. I could find the Force of Will that way. Blue, cast Ponder. These cards are not good enough. Take a couple pings from Bowmaster. So I think I will hope they don't have Daze, and I'll cast Aluren. Force of Will, pitch, Force of Negation. Sure. Just F6. So I'm dead next turn, but I will get to put show and tell on the stack. Okay, and they just fetch and fail to find. Interesting. Are they gonna like daze their own spell as well here? Surgical Aluren. Interesting. Oh, and now I can play around Daze. Oh man, that was a great top deck. Add blue, cast Lotus Petal, cast show and tell. Oh, Mystical Dispute. Oh. Nice. Well, I had a pretty good run at that game. I definitely think I want to run it back with the exact same 75. Maybe I want Defense Grid on the play over maybe one Lotus Petal. I'll try that. Yeah, I'll keep this. And I'll just start with Hedge Maze. Land is good. However, the main thing I really want to find is like Omniscient or Aluren. However, if this Ponder finds me something good, I can go for it this turn. Veil, Atraxa, Aluren. So I can get Atraxa into play now, backed by Veil of Summer. Actually, I played my land already because they wastelanded me. So that's a line for next turn. I'll put the Aluren on bottom, followed by Atraxa. I'll draw Veil, and I'll play out the Petals. And I am protected now from Thoughtseize. Okay, they Ponder, that's fine. Didn't shuffle, but I still feel like they have to have quite a lot here. Double counterspell. Let's force a negation. Here's Veil of Summer. Oh. Brutal. Okay. So now I need a green source more than anything. Tempted to rock. Okay. All right. And Wasteland. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a green source, so if I get another land, I can cast Aluren. All right, I know it plays into Daze, but I just want to get Aluren on the stack. Okay. So we're both kind of in the dirt here. I have stock ups, though, like the one I just drew. So that's pretty nice. I'll get another stock up and a Ponder. Any order for those cards. Thoughtseize is pretty good, and they'll take stock up, I have no doubt. Atraxa, okay, so now I just want the show and tell. There's show and tell. So I'll draw Omniscience, and then I'll draw show and tell next turn. Gotta dodge Wasteland. Looks like Murktide is coming down. 4/4. So that makes me think they have another Murktide in hand. So I think I'm just going to win the game right now. Put in Omniscience. They have a Murktide that they won't put in. Here's Atraxa. All right, 3-0. Wow, this deck feels really sweet. Right, I'm on the draw against a Yorion deck with a definite keep. I feel like against a Yorion deck, I'll have a pretty decent time. I don't know if I'm supposed to counter this Vial. I'll let them have the Vial. Okay, now I regret letting them have the Vial, because now I can win with Aluren, having drawn Formidable Speaker. But I just need lands. I'll probably pass without cracking this fetch land, but then the following turn have like double Surveil, and hopefully they don't have Wasteland. All right. Still no land. And some action here. Thoughtseize. If I let them Thoughtseize, there's really nothing you can take, so go ahead. I guess you'd probably take Atraxa, but you probably have to take Formidable Speaker, because that's non-deterministic. So this is actually the most lethal card in my hand. All right, they took Omniscience. I guess that's something to think about, because they can put things in with... but that's what I have Force of Will for. Would love to see... Okay, Soul Land was like the best thing I could possibly see, so I'll definitely keep that. If they have White Orchid... Okay, I was going to say they would have been wise to do it in my upkeep. All right, so I think I will show and tell. And I'll put in Aluren. They put in a land. So they would have to have like Skyclave, Recruiter of the Guard. They have to have like multiple things. And I do have Force of Will. So I'm going to go for it. I do have to discard a card. I'll discard Atraxa. And I'll get Acererak. And I'll pass right now. And I'll go to their upkeep, because I don't want them to be able to put anything in off that Vial. I don't think there's anything at 2 mana they could put in. All right, let's see what this is. Nothing. All right, well then I'm going to go for it now. Skyclave. Okay, so I have to force that. Solitude. Okay. All right, so they did have multiple things. But I do get to scry. Or is there anything better I can do? Yeah, I guess I just want to scry. So I'll continue with Lost Mine. And Atraxa. I don't think I want Atraxa. Yeah, I'd rather find like Stock Up or something like that. So I think they're favored from here. I kind of had my chance and I blew it. It's like Yorion to hand. Yep. So they can cast that next turn if they want. They can also Wasteland me. I'd probably Wasteland me if I was them. Okay. That was, I think, the wrong land to Wasteland. I think they should have gone after the city. Brainstorm, I guess, is fine. I'll attack for 2, and I will hold the Brainstorm for 1 turn. Okay, they're passing. Another land. I guess I'll Brainstorm now. Formidable Speaker and Stock Up. Formidable Speaker does get the Atraxa. So I guess I'll just put back these 2 cards. I'll wait 1 turn on the Formidable Speaker, or on the Stock Up. And next turn I can maybe find Show and Tell. Okay, White Orchid, that's pretty good. I'm actually going to have to decline that because I want the Stock Up. So I played around Thoughtseize instead of an effect like that. But I do know that underneath Stock Up is another city. So I can get my mana back. So I want to see Show and Tell in addition to that city. I can find the Atraxa with Formidable Speaker, so I'll take the city and the Stock Up and put those on the bottom in any order. And then they can get in Yorion, so I have no attacks. Death and Taxes is a weirdly bad matchup for Aluren, but I'm hoping that I can improve that matchup with the Omniscience side of things. And it looks like right now they're literally just on the beatdown plan because they had to expend all those resources to not die earlier. I don't know what the last card in hand could be, maybe a Plow or something like that. Stoneforge is good. Can get like Meteor Sword. Pre-war, sure. And then Skyclave. Yeah, that's pretty good. That enters. I think I'm just going to scoop this game up. All right, against Death and Taxes, though, I don't know. I feel like I should be favored if I can get Atraxa or Omniscience in early. I can definitely take out the Veils. I know they have Thoughtseize, but that's not enough. Bring in a couple Consigns. Force of Vigor could hit Vile, but not much else. I'll just try it like that. I think the key to success here is just to jam very early. Put him on play. Yeah, I'll keep. Probably just Island Ponder turn 1 rather than hold up Consign. I need to try to find my mana. Mull to 5. All right, I'll start with this Ponder. Just want to see more lands. Yeah, that's fine. Another land. Sorry, I misclicked there. But I was probably casting Brainstorm next turn anyway. So it's fine. Okay, they're going to Thoughtseize me. Let's see if they have the guts to take the Brainstorm. Kind of a cheese line if they do, but... Now, if they do take the Brainstorm, my misclick on the Order of the Ponders is looking pretty bad. Yeah. All right, well, I get to hold up Consign for a turn. But yeah, obviously I don't really want this Omniscience. I would much rather have Stock Up, and then I could Surveil and shuffle away that card. But I'll keep passing, and now I'll Surveil on end step and try to find another land, hopefully. Then I can Stock Up, and then everything will be right. Elia, that's pretty good. Stoneforge is also good. I guess I can sign this. So actually now though, if they get Meteor Sword, it doesn't look that bad to have. But yeah, this is really tough because if they get Meteor Sword, they just flicker that. So yeah, this is looking really rough actually. If I bin Acer Rack, I can't win that way, but that's fine. All right, so I have to cast Stock Up. Stock Up has to see Stock Up has to see a land and Show and Tell, and then maybe I'm all right. A land and a Aluren. I guess I'll take a Aluren and a Trop. I think if they play correctly, they can just, I think, kill 2 of my lands here. So this is looking like a loss, despite my opponent's multi-5. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to concede. That's a pity. Good game. All right, on the play for the last round. This looks good. I have to find mana. I've been saying that a lot. I don't know if that's an issue with the deck. All right, so I have Show and Tell, so I can basically win the game next turn. See what my opponent's up to. Saga. Saga Go makes me confident that they're not holding up Force of Will. So let's jam. Put in Omniscience, Artist Talent. I guess I'll slow roll just a little bit. Grab Force of Will, grab Stock Up, cast Aluren, cast Formidable Speaker, discard City of Traders, grab Acer Rack, cast Acer Rack, Lost Mine of Fandelver, and now the clicking will begin. All right, scoop it up. Sweet. Yeah, it's a lot of clicks, so I'm thankful that my opponents have been gracious at not making me click through everything. It's like hundreds of clicks to win the game. All right, so against like a Storm deck, I think I just want Consigns, Force of Negation, probably Veil of Summer as well. Maybe Force of Vigor. Probably want Grafdigger's Cage as well. And then probably, these are all acceptable cards, Force of Vigor. But I don't know how much I want to board out of what I'm doing. I don't think I'm supposed to bring in 11 cards. So I think I'm going to say no to the Cages. I think that I'm going to say no to the Veils. No to Force of Vigor. Maybe Stock Up is slow. I don't know, that feels wrong. Yeah, I'm struggling with these cuts. I'll take out the Ponders. And I'll only bring in 2 Consign. Well, this is a mulligan. No lands. This is better. I'll keep this and bottom. I guess 1 copy of Force of Will. All right, Hexing Squelcher, sweet. All right, well, I have to pass. So if they can go off here. So I think my best draw would be like either a Lotus Petal or a Show and Tell. Yep, Artist Talent is good. LED is good. In fact, I wonder if it's even worth it to Brainstorm end step to try to maximize what I find. And I can always stock up if I need to clear the card. Hey, there's Show and Tell. All right. Should be able to win from here. We'll just put the Show and Tells back. Show and Tell. And Formidable Speaker. Yeah, GG's. That one was pretty easy there. When you find your cards and your opponent is not someone who's going to interact super well with you, it's pretty much a free win. Wow, really cool. This is my first time playing this deck, and a 4-1 with some really tough and close matchups that this deck was quite resilient in. So looking back at the deck, this deck, I think when you first look at it, looks like a meme deck. Aluren, Show and Tell, Omniscience all in the same deck. And Aluren has felt like a card that's been power crept out for quite a while. So it kind of looks like this is just some jank. But I actually think it's quite good. And it's definitely something I'm going to return to, and I will be watching closely what Otaba and other pilots of this do. The reason why I think it's quite good is a few things. Number one, Formidable Speaker goes well with both Aluren and Omniscience, and it creates a bit of redundancy, just like Nadu plus Cephalid felt in the Nadu days of Cephalid Breakfast. In addition to that, one of the things that I think has made Aluren decks worse over the years is simply being slow. And so I like how this is a deck that takes the power of Aluren but speeds it up, using Lotus Petals to either power out Aluren itself or Show and Tell to get it in early. Now, I would love if there was maybe 1 or 2 extra cards that could come in off of Aluren and be good, so that you could combo with it a little bit more reliably. Because if you just have, say, Show and Tell for Aluren, that's not good enough. If you just have Show and Tell and Formidable Speaker, that's not good enough. So there's still some level of tension in this deck building, but it felt really smooth overall, and I'm not surprised that I got a good result with it. The Veil of Summers and Force of Will makes it really resilient, and I think that if it wasn't for game 1 against Death and Taxes, my opponent having, 3 really good cards left, including Skyclave Apparition, that has to be like a very small number quantity in the deck for them, I think that could have been a win as well. So I feel really good about the deck. I liked it a lot. It's definitely heartening to see a classic card get a bit of a refresh. And yeah, I liked it a lot. I know that Show and Tell can be a little cheesy of a strategy, but I'd like to be able to diversify as a player. And, I've gone from at the start of my YouTube channel playing a bunch of Breakfast, and now I play a bunch of Dimir tempo, and I'm glad that I didn't say just stick with Breakfast forever, but I also don't want to always be so predictable on the same deck. So having this felt like a good thing to have in my wheelhouse, and I think that my next evolution as a player would be to have a couple extra decks I can lean on, so that if Dimir tempo or whatever it is I'm playing doesn't feel good in the current meta, or I just feel like it's gotten stale for me, or if I think my opponents will simply be able to predict when I'm doing a little too much, being able to throw people off and step out of my comfort zone just a little bit would be nice. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.